Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you watched last week, I was fooling around painting on some sunglasses. In the end, with the black glasses, I decided to go simple and do some apple blossoms. But it was very interesting because I ended up having to do this totally freehand. I haven't found anything that I could draw on it with that was compatible with alcohol inks, really. You can't use a white gel pen to draw on sunglasses, or at least not on this pair of sunglasses. They don't mark. So I just went ahead with my brush and my white ink and went ahead and started freehand drawing in my little branch along which I'm going to put my clusters of apple blossoms. I'm going to keep it really simple. I am not going to make it too complex. I'm not going to include a whole lot of colors because I'm using a really tiny little canvas, as it were, here, this pair of sunglasses. And painting small is quite a challenge for me. So I knew when I started out here that I didn't want to make anything that was too complex. So I'm just going to go with some nice spring-like apple blossoms. It's the end of April here, and I just love apple blossom season. Every single year when the apple trees go into bloom, it is just the most beautiful time. I adore it. And I thought it would be a fun opportunity to paint some apple blossoms on these glasses because since my couple of experiences with painting with alcohol ink on narrow black paper, I have discovered how much fun it is. It is so cool. It's a totally different kind of alcohol ink painting because the technique is essentially backwards than it is when you're painting on a white support. Instead of preserving your light spaces, you're preserving your dark spaces. So it's a really, really interesting ride. I dig it. So as you can see here, I've pretty much just been using straight white to kind of sketch in where my flowers are going to go, the outlines of some leaves and whatnot. And then I'm going to go in with a nice pink and some grayish and some green and just fill in those colors, trying not to overwork it. Honestly, that's why I chose to go real time with this video. I thought, why not keep the video real time instead of cutting it down or instead of speeding it up? Usually I speed up my videos because I'm showing you many, many hours of painting work in a few short minutes. But this is really just a 15-minute painting. So I wanted to show you it as the 15-minute painting. This is exactly the time it took me to paint it. It's not cut down or sped up in any way, shape, or form. 15 minutes of painting, 15-minute video. I so look forward to painting on other black objects and surfaces with alcohol ink. It is so cool. It's really, really neat, the extra quality that it lends, because I've talked a lot about how alcohol ink lends itself to using different painting and drawing techniques in the same composition. Since it has such a low surface tension, so it wants to run all over when it's very wet, and also since it dries so quickly, so you can easily incorporate dry brushing and wet techniques in a short amount of time and in a small space. And also you can draw over top with alcohol markers, like Sharpie markers, like I do all the time. I love drawing on top of stuff with Sharpies. So alcohol ink is such a cool thing to mix drawing and painting styles, mix sketchy styles and wet techniques. And honestly, painting on a black support with a white ink that has a particulate in it, so it's opaque, it totally brings in a whole new level of textural possibility. All of a sudden, the colors are not glassy, or they don't have to be glassy or crystal clear. They could be creamy. They could be hazy. Use a teeny bit of white with lots of alcohol and some ink, and you'll get a hazy, foggy, pastel-y color that once it's dry, it will be translucent. Use a lot of white with just a small amount of color, like I'm doing here with these apple blossoms, to make them really white and light pink. And it dries completely opaque. It looks quite beautiful. I'd swear that it was acrylic paint, but it's beautiful because it's compatible with the alcohol ink, which is just such a fantastic, diverse medium. So I'm going in here with some light pink, where I'm really just blending my white into my pinky red here on the side. I love this palette that I'm using here. This is just it's a planter top that is plastic. But as soon as I decided I wanted to paint with alcohol inks on black surfaces, I knew that I was going to need a palette to do this with, because I don't know how you're supposed to mix white tinted colors on a white surface and see what you're doing, but I didn't want to embark on that kind of futility. So I decided to experiment with this planter top that I was so graciously gifted, and it works like a charm. It is so fantastic because it's circular and I can use it as a color wheel. I can align all of my colors in the color wheel. Everything's lovely. There's lots of room for everything, and if my colors start to run together, I can just wipe it all up and make a new puddle. I'm using some lovely Ranger ink here. I'm using Fiesta, which is a super beautiful magenta color, and I'm using it to really bring a nice pink dimension into these flowers. I had a lot of fun painting on these sunglasses. I didn't know what I wanted to do with them, but I knew that I couldn't just throw them away. Both of these pairs of sunglasses that I ended up painting on were scuffed beyond the practicality of wearing them for sun protection. But I'm one of those people that finds it difficult to throw away something that you feel like you could do another thing with. So I thought, I can repurpose those. I can make them into something beautiful. And it was really fun. I found it therapeutic because I find miniature art very challenging. I find drawing and painting small things challenging. I like big canvases. I love large surfaces to paint on. And so in that, painting on something that's small, like a card or a pair of sunglasses, is a big challenge for me. And especially this black pair, because I had to go totally freehand. The yellow pair that I did last week was different because I could I could draw with a black Sharpie on the surface of the glasses before ever going near it with a brush. So honestly, that was more of a drawing with alcohol ink painted onto it than just a painting. But this is 100% straight up painting because I didn't have a choice. I couldn't draw on it. And I admit, I am the kind of artist who likes to start with a drawing. Sometimes I start with a well-planned, detailed drawing. Sometimes I just start with a very simple drawing that I sketch out quickly in pencil or in colored pencil or in whatever before I get started. But I do like to start with somewhat of a drawing. I don't usually start a painting freehand. I'd like to think that was my thing, but it's totally not. If we're being honest with ourselves, I don't ever do that. I start with a drawing. But this time I really wanted to paint on this pair of sunglasses, and I couldn't figure out anything that I could draw on them with. So I just went ahead with my paintbrush, and honestly, I'm really glad that I did because I had a really great time doing it. And I feel like I grew a little bit more as an artist just going in with the brush and painting it right on there. So remember to challenge yourselves when you're painting or in any other area of your life. Maybe you're not an artist. Maybe you do other stuff. Maybe you're a carpenter, or you make candles, or you feed sharks. I don't know. But whatever you do, if you're really passionate about it, yes, it's worth doing well, but it's also worth taking risks in the process. Risk taking leads to learning, and don't we all want to get better at our craft? Now I've used my paintbrush for a little bit of black and dark gray on the actual branch, but to finish this off, to do the last little bits of dark, I'm going to use a fine tip Sharpie. In the future, I'd like to use a brush to do my finishing touches more, but honestly, I really just need to replace my alcohol ink brushes. I've been putting off getting new ones, but because also I like dry brushing, and I like that old scrubby brushes perform really well for dry brushing purposes. So it works for what I'm doing. I've been procrastinating getting the new brushes, so when I do, maybe I'll be doing the finishing touches with a brush. But right now, the brushes that I have, I just can't. They're too hairy and crazy to use for fine detailing. So I'm just gonna draw in my little bits of fine detailing with a fine tip Sharpie here and have fun with it before it's all over. Having done this, I can't wait to paint on another black surface. Use a nice black Nara paper and maybe paint some jellyfish or the Eye of Sauron or the Death Star. I don't know, something cool. I can't wait to explore this new alcohol ink on black support. I just can't get enough. I also want to revisit the cauliflower study. I really like the cauliflower on black Nara paper, but I want to do a similar study, paint the exact same cauliflower but on a white support, and then compare the two, just for the hell of it, because I think it would be cool. I really dug painting that cauliflower, and I think I should revisit the mysterious cauliflower again. This little painting is almost at an end, so I really want to thank you all for joining me for this lovely little freehand, loose apple blossom painting on black sunglasses. I'm definitely on the hunt for more non-porous objects that I can paint with alcohol ink on. I found this experiment quite inspiring. I don't know which one I like better, the black pair or the yellow pair. If you enjoyed this little painting video, please feel free to leave me a little bit of a thumbs up, or maybe even subscribe to this channel. That'd be pretty cool. Thanks for watching.